So I just wanted to take a second to talk about rope fish. I've had two now for a little bit. There's one of them out and about right now. They're still kind of a not very common fish in the trade, and there's not a lot of like stuff that's known about them. One thing that you will definitely hear anytime somebody mentions a rope fish is make sure you have a really good lid. Make sure you have a really good lid. Make sure you have a really good lid. And it's true. They are notorious for jumping out of tanks. But I also feel like there are some really easy adjustments you can make to lessen the chance of them wanting to jump from the tank. So first of all, I think one thing that really helps is leaving a good inch gap between the lid and where the top of the water is. Rope fish go to the top of the tank to get air, unlike a lot of fish that are able to just breathe the oxygen from the tank water. So they need to have a little bit of space to be able to reach out of the tank. Something else that I did that I've noticed my rope fish really utilizing is I got these black tubes from a hardware store. It was one, and while I was there, I asked to use a saw and sawed it in half because it's like about the size of their body. So I have one up in the front and one in the back over here. You can't see it as much when you're just looking head on at the tank, which I kind of like. But they really, really like this one that's up in the roots. They'll kind of come and wedge themselves up on top of it and on the roots and kind of just spend a couple minutes up there before they will go back into the water. So they really, really like that. They also like having roots up at the top, or plants up at the top of the tank to hide out in to get air. Something else that I did, which I've seen somebody else recommend before, is to put a turtle dock in the tank. They don't use this as much as they use the tubes, but I still have seen them use it quite a bit. They'll go up on there and kind of wedge themselves up and breathe for a little bit and then slither back into the water. So those are just a few minor adjustments I made to my tank to make it more comfortable for them, to kind of lessen them wanting to jump. Something you might notice is that I have plants growing out of the top of my tank. And I said you need a very, very well covered lid. So I'm sure you're kind of asking yourself, how can you have so many plants growing out of the top of your tank but still have a well secured lid to where they don't jump out? So I got this black piece of plastic netting from the craft section of Walmart. I'm pretty sure people use it for like yarn art projects or something. I'm not really sure, but I originally used it to create my own beta dividers so I could house multiple betas in like a 10-gallon tank. But I had some laying around and I just used that to cover. It lays like up on the lip of my filter so that they can't jump out in this space, and then I just taped it down. The same with my plant. I cut out a little piece and kind of like curved it so it's a lip so that they can't get out under the plant. On the smaller holes that didn't really need to have space, I just used tape and just taped it up, like you can see over back here by my bamboo piece. And then there's another piece farther in the back where like the heater cord comes out that I just put some tape to. The front feeder hole on one of them, I used the same black netting and taped it up. I'm thinking within the next week or so, this plant is going to fill in enough to where I hopefully won't have to have anything covering it. The plant will cover enough itself to where they won't be able to jump out. But those are just some ideas of how to hopefully lessen the chance of your ropefish jumping or making it so that they can't jump out of your tank. You want to make sure that you're not getting PVC for these black tubes that you can see. I have another black one down here that is PVC. PVC sinks though. These, I believe they're called ABS tubes. They're in the exact same area as the PVC pipes in the hardware store are, and they're about the same price. It's just they're a little bit thinner, so they float. So they're still safe to use in aquariums, but they just won't sink. So that's kind of all my tips for you today. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a like, to subscribe. I will definitely be posting more videos of both my fish tanks and my rope fish. They have tons of personality. I really, really recommend, if you're thinking about getting some of these for your tank, to go for it if you have a large enough tank. They do get really, really big, so you want to make sure that you have at a minimum a 55-gallon tank for the long run. And they also can live upwards to like 10 to 15 years. So if you want one, make sure that it's something that you're going to want for a while, or that you'll have somewhere to go, or somewhere for it to go if you decide that you don't want it anymore, because they do live for a long time compared to most fish.